Okay, it goes live. Hello, Toti. Hello, Sajid.
Hello, sorry for being late.
No problem. Let me share the screen. Here's my screen.
We can see it.
Thanks, Simon. Okay, let's start. Here is today's agenda. We have 3 topics. First, let's follow up some actions from previous meeting. Second one, we discuss the Notary project V1.1 release. The last one is call out for several important PRs. So let's start from the first one. Yeah, so I scroll down to previous meeting. So from previous meeting, we have several notes. Most of those notes are related to documentation. So let's walk through those item list. So the first 2 is about one is about the TOC, another is about the landing page. So I think Feynman currently is working with Rosling and also Sanjay for those 2 PRs. Actually, it's the first one and the third one. For the second one, we agreed on closing items that are older than General 2023. I think we also discussed this in one meeting previously about how to clean up stale issues or PRs. Actually, I have the rules recorded in this contributing guide. So please take a look at the contributing guide. If all agree, then maybe we can start the practice on the website repository first. For example, we can enable a GitHub action flow to automatically check the stale issues and the PRs. So adding comments on the second one. Samir, please.
Is that only for the documentation related PR or issues or for everything on all the repos?
Yeah, actually the contributing guide is for all the repository on the Notary project organization. So my proposal is maybe we can start this automation work from the website repo firstly.
Okay,
I
think
yeah.
Yeah, that I'll probably be okay to start with just the documentation repo because there will be some, if we close everything in the other repos, such as the roadmap repo or the notation repo, that we might lose some content, which would be harder to pick up. But I'm fine with documentation.
Yeah, actually, this automation workflow means that we will actually, the flow will respond to the stale issue or PRs, but still give some time for the author to respond. Then after that, if no response, no any activities, those issues or PRs will be closed. Yeah. So,
hang on,
yeah,
let me
Samuel.
ask. So you're saying this automation will be enforced for all the repos or only for the documentation
no.
repo?
I mean, we can start practice from the documentation repo first, the website repo.
Okay, yeah, let's start there before we roll it out to other repos. Yeah, I agree
Yeah.
with that. That probably is okay. Yeah.
Yeah. But before we do that, I expect that we can review the contributing guide to confirm it, especially the criteria for the sales issues and PRs. So once we align with that in the contributing guide, we merge this guide, we can start work on this.
Okay.
Thanks. Let me check whether any comments from chat. Feeman, please.
Yeah, I just saw Rosalind has changed its PR for the TOC refactoring. Actually, the documentation directory refactoring, that PR needs further approval from or review from our maintainers. So I think that PR is quite critical. We can have that PR merged so other PRs will not be impacted after the directory change. I just shared the link in our chat. Maybe our Notary project maintainers can take a look after this meeting, especially Samir, since Samir, you requested change in that PR. I think she resolved all of those comments and suggested change. We may need further look at that PR.
Okay.
So I think it's this one. I also agree that we should prioritize this TOC because it's about the structure. So we'd better to prioritize this one first. So let me take a note.
Is this blocking right now?
I would say not blocking, but pending for review or approval. I think you can also preview the latest documentation directory structure on via the preview link. If that looks good to you, you can approve that. I can share the preview link if needed.
Yeah, I mean, personally, I think we should prioritize this because it's been open since what, July 12th. So it's a very, it's been open for quite some time. So it makes sense to kind of like make this important.
Yeah, I was just looking at it. This is the contributing guide PR, right? I think Pritish is the one who reviewed it. I didn't. I was skimming through it. So Pritish is here now. He can prioritize relooking at it and approving it.
Yeah, Samir, we are discussing different things. So let's do it one by one. So actually, what Feeman comment is on the TOC, this PR, not the contributing guide.
Yes, this is restructuring of the documentation.
So this one, I am opening it, and so Samuel, since you requested the changes previously, so it's better you can take a look to see if all the comments were resolved. And also, I think we also expecting Zach to take another look. Okay, so I will take one note that Samuel and Zach to, sorry. Okay, this is about the TOC. So another thing we talk about is the contributing guide to align, especially to align the criteria for the sales issues on the PRs. Pritesh comment, and I think I also resolved the comments from Pritesh. So maybe Pritesh can take another look. And I also expect other documentation maintainers to take a look at the contributing guide. Okay, this PR also, yeah, quite a long time open. So Pritesh, will you take another look? And I
Really?
also, yeah, thanks. I think maybe we also need maybe I think this contributing guide, since it's for the whole Notary project, so I expected more maintainers to review it. Okay. Then we also talk about that if we agree that the criteria for the stale issues or PRs in the contributing guide, we can start to practice the automation workflow on the website repo, right? Okay. Let's move on. There are other new content that's proposed by Zach. This is also related to our existing work and also the work we planned for Notary Project V1.1. For example, the GitHub Actions. There are some documentation in the GitHub Action repository. So we also need to have a user guide on the website to guide the user how to use GitHub Actions for notation. I created an issue in the website repo. I will show you later. And for the homegrown installation instructions, this was already done by Rustin. And I also created an issue for this nuggets from the Tanzu broadcast to check this one. For the adoption, cloud providers and adopters, we already had a PR. I think that PR was created by Freeman several months ago, and we needed to revive that PR and to update it to the latest status. I will show you all the new issues that I created. This is related to the second topic. I will do that later. This is about a page describing the release schedule and the support policy. This is, I think, from Sajay. I think we already aligned that previously that we will have a quarter-based release, right? At least one release in one quarter. And we also discussed the support policies. So I created a PR recently. I scroll up. This one, release schedule and the support policy. This PR is now is on the website repo. So I hope that maintainers can review this PR so that we can confirm the release schedule and the support policy. And also this will be visible for our Notary project users. Let me check. So maybe Sajay, you can add your comments in the PR. Is that okay for you? So currently my proposal is
let's
releases
open the
in
PR.
quarter.
Is there a PR already? I can add comments to that. Or are we going to
Yeah.
create a PR?
Yeah, I copy here. The PR is
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'll comment on it. Thank you.
Yeah, I leave it to you. Okay. And so the last one is from Zach. I think Zach will take action accordingly. Yeah, any further comments? We basically finished the first topic. Yeah, if no, we move on. The second is about the release planning. So let me click this one. So as we all aligned previously on the features, yeah, in this comment, and also this is the prioritized feature list. So we will start working on those features in notation for notation project 1.1. And today we are going to discuss who will work on what features. So as we discussed in last meeting and offline chat, so I think for this one, this issue was created by Pridesh for sign and verify arbitrary date. So I think maybe Pridesh, as we discussed, you can take the ownership for this issue. Will that be okay for you?
Yep, feel free to assign that to me. Yep.
Okay. So then I think I will reassign this issue to you. Is that okay?
Mm.
Yeah. Okay. So for the other issues, I think Shiwei's team will work on these issues based on the order. So for this one, maybe Shiwei, I first assign to you. Is that okay? Then later we can assign to.
Sure. Yeah, please
Yeah,
go ahead.
assign to. Yeah, for this plugin, actually, Josh has a PR, so we needed to firstly check the status whether those PR should be continued or we create new PRs. Okay. So for the trust store and trust policy, we can assign to the assignees later once we complete the first two. Is that okay?
Yeah, sounds good to me. So we need to prioritize the first three and then the rest. Yeah.
Yeah, yes. So any comments from Samuel Pradesh?
I'm not clear about the ask on this one. Like, if you go back to bullet number 1 in this section, GitHub Actions documentation, what is required there? No,
GitHub
scroll up.
Actions.
No, scroll up here. Scroll up.
Sorry. Scroll up.
Go up 5 lines or 6 lines. Go up. Where you say update the installs with the brew instructions for Mac OS and other updates to the install.
I didn't see that.
Right there. Yeah. Before that, yeah, you were that never mind. You're struggling. Let's just move on.
Sorry, Samuel, I didn't get that. Samuel, could you say it again? Yeah.
No, never mind. I think forget about what I was asking you to go back to. Let's just move on with the meeting.
Okay. Okay. So as you know that some features may request the specification changes and also documentation, right? So I think we also needed to think about the V1.1 for documentation and the specification. So I created two milestones. One for documentation, another for the specification. So for this is the documentation website repo. So I listed several issues for this milestone, and some of them are based on Zach's feedback. So we needed to prioritize those work items. Some I think from previous when we clarify the branding issues, we still have several issues or PRs not closed yet. For example, the README file for the repository, and we also have several pages with using the wrong name, and also I also add the documentation for the features. So that means once we have the feature completed, we also needed to have the documentation ready on the website for either tutorials or how to for as a user guide. So I think later I also needed to share this information to Zach so that we can work together to prioritize the documentation work items. Do you have any questions on the scope of the documentation V1.1?
Is that for Samir or me?
Yeah, Samir or Pradesh also, if you any comments from anyone
But
in this meeting.
it's the same as what we discussed in last meeting, right?
Some are from last meetings. For example, the adopter lists and
Okay.
also this broadcast, Tanzu broadcast. Some are related to the feature we are going to work on. So once we have the feature, we should describe the experience, tutorials, or how-to for our user and then land it on the website. And some are left over from previous 1.0. Some are related to the README file or naming,
Makes sense, yeah.
and also the document structures we just discussed. Yeah. Yeah. This is for documentation. Another one is for the specification. So specification, currently I added 3. The first 2 are related to the feature that Pradesh you are working on for sign and verify arbitrary
Second
data.
one. Sorry, the second one. I think what's the should be the outcome of second one? I thought we don't need to do any kind of work there.
The second one, right? Let me open the feature. The second one is actually related to this scenario. Yeah. So the first one is related to sign up to date like form for software. The second specification is about if we want to distributing the arbitrary date via registry. How should we do that?
We should talk about it. I don't know, it might get complicated depending upon how registry hashes and things like that.
Yeah, I agree. We can discuss that. So if we think the second one is not I agree first that the first scenario is the most important scenario. We can discuss for the second one.
Yeah, makes sense. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So we can decide later if we don't need to do any work in 1.1 for the second scenario. Maybe we can move this specification work to the future milestone.
Okay.
Yeah, the first two are related to that feature. The third one are also some comments from previous specification 1.0. There are some comments not addressed, so I picked up one. I think this comment from meaning. So there are also other, if we go back to this issue page, there are also other issues. So maybe Pritesh or Samuel can also take a look to think about whether some issues are also important for 1.1, then we can start working on that.
What's the third one? Can you explain a bit about that? Or can you talk about that, the third one, which you showed in 1.1 scope?
Yeah, we just discussed about this one.
No, this is the second one, right? Distributing a non-OCI artifact through registries. What was the second one? What was the third one? There was one more issue in 1.1 scope.
Okay, let me do it like this.
Yeah, follow the removal of unsigned attribute that are typically signed by third parties.
Yeah, this is the comment from Meaning on one PR.
Oh, okay. So it's just basically
Yeah.
update. It's not adding a spec, just clarifying something there.
Yeah. So
Okay,
this
cool.
is the, yeah, if I open this PR, so it's, we have some comments that we agree that we will create a new issue to address that. So this is about.
Makes sense. I mean, I was just confused that it's a new feature or we are just trying, like it basically looks like basically just clarifying something, not we are not adding anything new.
No. So currently for the specification, what I see the changes are required for the SIME arbitrary data. So maybe there are needs for other features, but I don't see it for now. So if later we think that we need to do some specification work on the specification repository, we can create the issue accordingly. Okay. There are also some other issues, so maybe Samuel or Pritesh can also take a look to think whether they are also important for v1.1. Okay. So that's basically what I want to discuss for the v.1 planning. So we align the features who will work on which features, and we also think that there are documentation work for v1.1, and also some features require specification changes. We also need to plan specification release accordingly. So any additional comments? Samuel, please.
Yeah, sorry, I missed the whole last week because I was on vacation. But did we not agree that there'll be some must-have features and some nice-to-have features so that we don't stop the release if the must-have features are available, but the nice-to-have are not available? For example, I think some of the user experience improvement to me are nice to have, right? They are not new functionality which will. So I'm just curious as to how will we make a decision at that time if, let's say, our nice to have is not done, but rest of the stuff is done.
Yeah. What we aligned is that we have this feature with prioritization. So the first one is the most important one. And we also agree that at that time, we agree to have at least one release per quarter by following the Kubernetes community's practice. We think the date release will be a good practice, that we need to make sure at least one release in the upcoming quarter. So we align that we will have the code freezing date in the middle of November, and 1 week after that, we will cut the release for 1.1, or the worst case at that time, if we cannot complete any feature for v1.1, we also considering to release the patch release for the Notary project.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, so we work on the feature based on the orders, and we have the feature assigned to different assignees, and yeah, and some of the criteria what I just mentioned are also covered under this PR. Actually, this PR is a recap and also with some updates based on our discussions. So maybe Sabi, you can also take a look on this release schedule and the support policy. Yeah, hope that answer your questions. So actually for this PR, so if we agree on the schedule and support policy, I think this is very good for our Notary project because we will have a very predictable release cadence. So we will release a minor release or patch release, and also based on some criteria, we may need to release a major release. So please take a look at this here so that we can align the way forward. Okay. Any other comments on the planning? Should we or Todi, Satya, any comments?
No, thank you.
Thanks, Satya. Okay, then we finish the second topic. The third one is about some important PR review. So as we just discussed, I think this one, release schedule and support policy, is quite important. It's actually aligned the way forward for the Notary project release cadence and also how we support different releases. The second one is, sorry, there's the typo here, archive process. Actually, SPR is opening for quite some time as well. So I think this PR is also because for the Notary project organization whilst governance document. So I think it's better that we have a broader maintenance to review this PR. Pritesh did some work, and I also provide some comments. So maybe Samia, Todi, you can also take a look, and also meaning to take a look on the archive process. So once we align with this repository lifecycle, then we can kick off the archiving some repository based on our needs. Okay, so Samuel or Toddy, so can I take action for you to also review this archive process?
Sure. Yep.
Okay. Yeah, the last one I talked about just now is about the contributing guide. Actually, from our website, the current contributing guide that linked from the website is broken. So we needed to get this PR merged as soon as possible. It is also opening for quite a long time. Okay. Besides the stale issues and the PRs I talked about, there are other criteria for the contributing guides. For example, how we track issues, what labels we are going to use for different criteria, and also explanation on the milestones, and also how user can config correctly, for example, to sign the commits. So there are also other things in the contributing guide, and it is quite important for our users to become a contributor. So please prioritize this PR as well. Okay, I think that's all the topics for today. Any other business? We still have around 15 minutes. Yeah, any other things we want to discuss? If no, we can close early this time.
All right. Thanks, folks.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.